Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to address you at the Singapore International Energy Week on the important and timely theme of a connected and sustainable energy world. For many years, there was a disconnect between the climate change world and the energy world. Even though nuclear was providing a quota of the world's low-carbon energy, even though it was and still is the world's second largest source of low-carbon energy after hydropower, and even though experts at the International Energy Agency and the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change were saying we need much more nuclear energy to get to net zero, nuclear did not have a seat at the table when energy and climate policy were being discussed. Nuclear was not part of the conversations around most kitchen tables. Nuclear was not part of the conversations around government, media, and in the industry tables. And nuclear was certainly not part of the conversations around the table at the top international climate meetings like the UN's annual climate change conference. Today, that disconnect is over. Nuclear is not only at all those tables, but we now have a clear global consensus that more nuclear power will be needed if we are to get to net zero. At COP28 last year, nuclear power's inclusion in the first global stocktake under the Paris Agreement was historic. For the first time since COP meetings began, the 198 signatory countries to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change called for accelerating the deployment of nuclear, along with other low-carbon energy sources. The world recognized that this was necessary to achieving rapid and deep decarbonization. The change in attitude is leading to changes in policies, changes in investments. In the high-case scenario, the IEA's projections, which we have published not so long ago, expect global nuclear capacity in 2050 to be 2.5 times greater than it is today. But even in our lowest case projection, we expect an increase of 40%. From growing populations to energy-hungry artificial intelligence data centers, the world is going to need much more clean energy. Nuclear's 24/7 availability facilitates the deployment of intermittent sources like solar and wind power. Complementarity. Nuclear can provide process heat, clean hydrogen, and district heating so that we can decarbonize industry and transport. Innovations like small modular reactors will play a key role in providing options for smaller grids. To be pro-nuclear is to be pro-environment, simply said. Nuclear power is a great connector, a facilitator, and a foundation for clean energy systems at the heart of our shared sustainable future. That is why I am pleased it has a seat at the table at the Singapore International Energy Week. So in closing, I wish you a successful conference. Look forward to hearing about the progress you make.